I walked out, and I remember sitting on the grass, put my gun in my lap, and I sat there on the grass, and I waited for the cops to come. I knew I was done. I had come to a place in my life where I was totally dependent on God. The plan the adversary has for you, it is a dark plan. The plan that God has for you is a radiant one. My name is Morris Graves Jr. People look at me today, the people that I interact with, and they can't believe my history. I was born into a fatherless environment. The environment that I was born into, I saw a lot of my friends brutally murdered around me. By the time I was 12 years old, I had been taught by adult men how to sell drugs, how to rob people, how to steal cars. By the time I was in the 7th grade, I was a full-blown alcoholic. I was married, but living a life that was so crazy. I mean, I had been married 5 years and ended up having a baby by another woman. My wife didn't leave me, and the only reason she didn't leave me is because she was afraid to. If you threatened me, if I felt threatened by you, I didn't wait to see what you would do. I just brung the fight to you. One night, I'm riding with a partner of mine, and we're getting ready to go to the club, and he says, man, I saw your sister, and he told me what crack house she was in. We go to the crack house, and he tells me, he says, Morris, will you stay out here off the porch, and I'll go knock on the door and see if she's in there. The guy on the door comes to the door, and he asks, I'm hearing everything, he asks, is Tammy in there? And they look around and they say, she's not in here. I'm wanting to get in. I want to get in and see for myself, you know. And these guys have guns on this door. I should have been killed in that moment. But my friend grabbed me and pulled me off of the porch. So we got into an argument, and he hit me. And when he hit me and he realized what he'd done, I ran him down. Now he lived in the same complex, and he'd seen her in that area. He'd seen her at that crack house. But when I pulled my pistol out, he ran around to his house. I chased him down, and I grabbed him. I picked him up, and I put the gun to his chest, and I pulled the trigger. I ended up in jail, and I'm trying to get bonded out, because my lawyer tells me, he says, Morris, he says, first of all, the crime is so heinous, and you got witnesses and people that heard you say you were going to kill the guy. So you're going to prison for the rest of your life. The best thing you can do is get out on bond, because the penal system's so bagged up that it'll be a year before you get your time. And so that's what I was trying to do. My wife and I on the phone trying to get somebody to help me get out, and nobody would help me. No family members, no one would help me. Everybody thought, man, if this guy gets out of prison, gets out of jail, he's gonna run. I was sentenced to 15 years. When I realized I wasn't gonna get out, I got on my knees in the wee hours of the morning, everybody else is asleep. I got out of my bunk, I got down on the floor, and I remember praying, you know, I don't know if you're real or not. You help me get out of here, spend this year with my family, then I'll go to prison, and I'll serve you, and I won't turn to the left or to the right. That was all I knew. That's all I'd heard. That's all I knew by way of praying. And you know, looking back, I don't even believe that I had any intentions of fulfilling that prayer. Mr. Trex, I had worked for them, and I had worked for them early on when I first dropped out of high school. The owner of that business is sitting in front of his television, and my face comes up on the news. This man gets in touch with my wife. He puts up $100,000 cash and he puts his business up for collateral. And I got home and I called him and I said, Mr. Traxler, I'm as humble as a lamb by now. I want to thank you for what you did for me and my family. And he says, well, Morris, you just do the right thing. And I tell you, man, I've been trying to do the right thing ever since then. So I had to do 7 years before I was eligible for parole, but the God of glory moved so miraculously in my life as I consistently surrendered my life over to him, got me out supernaturally in 4.5 years. I learned the reality of the God of heaven, the God of glory. I had come to a place in my life where I was totally dependent on God. Consider what I've said. Consider my testimony. Consider where you are in life. Consider where you want to be in life. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child